Saturday Social, brought to you by EA Sports FC with PlayStation 5.
It's time to get a bit of debate going in the studio. Not that we haven't had much debate. We've got three top guests on, but three rival fan bases as well, and they've both got the paddles, I can see.
Yeah,
absolutely. So what's the plan?
True or false paddles are out. Me and Smith are going to read out a series of statements. Put your paddle up if you think it's true, put your paddle up if you think it's false, and then we'll have a little bit of debate about each one. Let's start off then with some VAR. True or false, football post-VAR is less enjoyable? Marva, the only one saying false.
I know this is controversial, but I just think that we look at pre-VAR with rose-tinted glasses now, and we act like I see people say, like, at least back then, you know, it was a wrong decision, but we always just used to get on with it, and no, we didn't. We argued all the time, and we're still not enjoyable when, like, you know, an obvious penalty wasn't given, your team lost as a result, and there wasn't even anyone looking at it. I just think it also brings... It's box office. Like, sometimes it's a horror show, but it's box office. Like, that Chelsea-Spurs game the other day, the entertainment that VAR brought to it, I think we're just going to get used to it a bit. Although I will say, when you're in the stadium and you don't know what's going on, obviously that does lessen the enjoyment slightly. But as a fan who often doesn't see her team score that much, I don't have to worry about the celebration thing and then worrying that we don't, you know what I mean? So I just get the nice benefit of, like, maybe that goal we conceded isn't actually going to be counted.
Yeah, I despise VAR with every fibre of my being. I genuinely do. I'm president and co-founder of the Anti-VAR Society. I think football needs to go back to how it used to be. It was a noble experiment. They tried, but they failed. And if you think about what VAR brings to the game, it hasn't really solved any of the problems. If you think about what it's removed from the game, what is football really? What are we doing as football fans? We're chasing that moment of joy, that spontaneous moment of just exuberant passion as you celebrate with strangers in a stand. You go tumbling over the seat in front of you and hurt your shins. That's what football is. It's about that buzz that you get at football, and VAR has totally removed that. You can't celebrate a goal anymore. It's fundamentally changed football.
I beg you lot, put some slow music over that and keep playing that. Because me, I'll stand up and I'll go to war with that speech. And I don't agree with this brother much, but I'm with him. I'm sorry. I think, you know what you said about what they've done with entertainment? I think that they've tried to move football away from its purest form of that, you know? And even when we used to begrudge decisions, it was one man, it was one referee, and whatever, we gave it to... Now it seems like there's 8 referees and they still all get it wrong. So for me, the whole VAR experience, exactly, as a footballer, you want to be able to score, run off and just be in that moment. Now, the whole stadium stops, waits, and so then that Purix moment is gone. And so for me, exactly...
Welcome to the Anti-VAR Society.
Hey, bring in, brother. Come on.
You can have a co-founder's role. I like it.
T-shirt.
You're in.
Anti-VAR Society. And we be rolling.
We're in together.
Big T-shirt. Rory and Bailey, complete agreement for something.
Probably the only time in this whole feature that's going to
Let's try and change that with the next one. True or false, Liverpool are Manchester City's closest rivals for the Premier League title this season. What are we saying?
Whoa!
Ooh,
even the Everton fans going true.
Wow. Rory, let's come to you first, because you've gone false.
Yeah, I don't think Liverpool... I think Liverpool have been brilliant. They've been sensational, in fact, far better than I thought they would be, off the back of their midfield being demolished. You know, when they lost so many players last year, I think you could have rationalised one of them leaving. You know, if just Henderson had gone, if just Fabinho had gone, I think you could have rationalised it. But the fact that entire midfield, 6 players, I think, in the one calendar year, left that club, I didn't think it would be possible to launch a serious and sustained bid for the league. And despite how good they've been, despite the brilliance of Szoboszlai, I still don't think they are. I still don't think they're capable. The answer, I believe, in terms of a challenger, is Arsenal. I think Arsenal are the nearest challenger and potential winners of the Premier League, not Liverpool.
Marva, fair play, because you're an Everton fan, as Joe pointed out, but you've gone true, disagreeing with Rory.
You're making me say good things about Liverpool, which I don't appreciate. But I do think that, like, I just trust that when it gets into that position of rivaling for the title, I trust Liverpool more than I trust Arsenal, because they've been there, done that more recently. I just think that Liverpool, they seem to have sorted out a lot of their problems from last season, even though I probably rate Arsenal a bit higher in terms of football that they're playing at the moment. But I just think that they struggle with solutions sometimes when things aren't going their way, whereas I always annoyingly trust Liverpool to find a way.
And Bailey, you're back to completely disagreeing with Rory again.
Oh, completely. Completely. No, I slightly agree with how many people left. I do think that the way Klopp's fused the team together in this short period of time is immense. I honestly think, and I think we're a DM away from winning it. I think if January comes in and we get a DM, I think we're a DM away from winning. I think we've got the best 5 attackers going forward. And I don't ever think
Ahead of Man City?
5. The 5 players.
5?
Yeah, I think the 5 of us. I think with that, I think even if you look across how we get our goals, who scored our goals, I think 5-wise, that's what we've got. Listen, I know Doku and them lot will come into age, but that's done it in the Premier League. I think it's us 5. Listen, I think that we've always scored goals. I think it was that conceding goals was always our problem. But if we get a DM, I literally think that we're a DM away from winning the Premier League.
Arsenal finish above Liverpool this season. Whether you think they win the league, but Arsenal will finish above Liverpool this season.
So you quote us now, I say Liverpool finish above Arsenal.
Then you're wrong again.
All right, well, it links perfectly into our next true or false as well. It links really, really well to our next true or false because our next one revolves around Arsenal, and it's true or false, Arsenal need to sign another striker. Now, do we think Arsenal, in order to win the title... I see, it's a very similar sort of feel here. You don't think they need to sign another striker?
They don't need to sign another striker. When you think about why Arsenal didn't win the league, think about why Arsenal didn't win the league. It's not scoring goals, is it? Even the games where they made a pig's ear of it, where they went away to Anfield and they drew 2-2. They scored 2 goals. They were 2-0 up.
What was it?
The reason they didn't win the league, there were issues. I think centre-half would probably be the issue, the Saliba injury.
So do you think this...
I think this team has enough goals in it. I don't think goals are the problem.
And this, of course, is why we disagree.
5 players.
I think Arsenal need that. I think it's blaringly obviously when they don't have. So the talking, I actually like Nketiah, but when Jesus is not there and Nketiah's not there, I don't think they've got that striker when it comes to the business.
They don't need it, do they?
But no, they do need it. So I get it. Saliba was a big miss last season. You know what I'm saying? Big miss last season. He's there now. But even though he's been there, so defensively, you'd say they're rock solid in bar to the game they lost at Newcastle. But it's those games where this season, when they need to get over the line, that they need that striker.
And to challenge
That's
City,
why I feel they need a striker. You need that striker.
But the way that they play, they don't have that one goal scorer. They're not.
That's the problem.
But what they've got is they've got 4 players that will score a dozen goals each.
It's not enough.
The way that Arteta attacked, it's like 4.
But I think they could do with a plan B. I think they could do with a plan B, which is like even if they didn't start consistently, a squad player. You know, like, imagine if they had a Callum Wilson on the bench, not that he'd necessarily go to them and sit on the bench, but if they had someone like that to bring on in a game like the Newcastle one, where they're struggling to create chances, and they just have someone to attack behind the lines, I think...
Arsenal this season, sorry, just to cut you, Arsenal this season, I find it way more harder to play the style of football they played last season because now teams are sitting behind the ball. We just know that, and that's second time around. So that definitive striker who can get that goal, who can pop up and score them goals, is what they're missing. That, regardless of what, they had a lot of problems last season. Now they've got another set of problems this season because teams know about them. So they need, in my opinion, they need that striker to get them over the line.
Martinelli, Saka, Jesus and Odegaard will score enough goals to win the league. They scored enough goals to win the league last year. The reason they didn't win the league wasn't goal scoring. I think that those 4 players score 10 dozen goals each. That's enough goals to win the Premier League. Where they could need reinforcements, I think there's an issue around the goalkeeper. I think there's an issue around the midfield. I think the recruitment with Kai Havertz wasn't impressive at all. I think there are issues in the squad, but goal scoring isn't the flaw I see in Arsenal.
Let's move on to our next topic then. This, I'm sure, is going to cause an awful lot of debate. True or false, Jurgen Klopp has a greater Premier League legacy than Jose Mourinho?
You're excited about this one, Joe, aren't you? You're excited about this one.
What are you
false.
doing?
Marva comes down on the side of Jose.
No. This is
unacceptable.
I don't need to... This is just an obvious statement. This is just the truth.
That is true.
How can you possibly say that?
It's true. You want me to say
I do want to hear this.
So let me say, this is my take on it, right? Let me get the other things out first. I do think it's always harder to repeat. So to win the Premier League again, I always think it's harder to win that. Mourinho's done it 3 times. Totally get that. Klopp's done it 1 time. Totally get that. All right, so we know that. We can put that out there. We know Mourinho's won, 3 cups, FA Cup and a Charity Shield. So, okay.
Mourinho, 3 Premier Leagues, 2 Champions League, 3 Premier League Manager of the Season awards. Klopp's won a Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League, 2 Manager of the Season awards. So
Mourinho's won the Champions League in the...
Not whilst in England.
No, not whilst in England, but he has won 2 Champions League.
Yeah,
you asked about trophies. Sorry, you asked about
trophies. I didn't ask about what he won in the Premier League. Sorry. Don't do that.
I apologise.
I'm just trying to break down.
How many he has,
we're talking about the Premier League legacy, right?
Yeah.
That's
what I'm saying. 3 Premier League titles to 1.
Yes.
3 Premier League titles to 1. All right, so even with that, right, my thing that legacies of Klopp's legacy is better because of the resources that he's had to work under. I also believe that you go in to win everything. So under Liverpool manager, Klopp's won every trophy that can be won. Third thing is that, you know what, Klopp's gone up in the last 3 or 4 years against arguably the best team that has ever will probably go down as the best team in football history.
Man City.
Man City. So if it wasn't there, we know, and of course there's ifs and buts and maybes, Klopp sort of won more Premier Leagues.
So the point tallies have been massive.
So the reason why I say in the legacy off of that, it comes into play. I feel that when you build a project, I think Mourinho came in, special one, loved everything about his character. I thought he elevated the Premier League in the sense of who he was. But, again, it's just like Chelsea now. They just go out and buy whoever they want. That's what it is. So in my sense, when you build a project, the legacy. Now,
Rory, has Bayo's thoughts made you change your thoughts?
The face.
No, it's giving me a migraine. There is no logic to this whatsoever.
OK.
Jose Mourinho is undoubtedly the third best manager to have ever plied his trade in this country in the Premier League era. It's not comparable to Sir Alex Ferguson. I think now Pep Guardiola's legacy has gone above Mourinho's. But undoubtedly, Mourinho is second. Think about what he did. It's all very well saying Man City, competing with City. Jose Mourinho came in and had to compete with the Invincibles and Sir Alex Ferguson's Manchester United. And he won Chelsea's first title for 50 years. Just to then go into the legacy, obviously there were loads of cups along the way. A decade later, he came back to the Premier League and won it again. The first one, he went back-to-back. He won it back-to-back.
OK.
He then came back 10 years later and won it again.
OK.
He changed the Premier League forever. He obliterated Arsene Wenger. He obliterated.
So when you say, see, because I just want to land. So you're saying your point of what he did. I can't even argue that because he did. Went back to back, and what we said, he came in, and the one thing I think what you do, right? You take into, or you don't take into consideration. You say that he had to go up against Wenger and United. Cool, we know that. But in the same time, dismiss the fact that when I've gone that, Klopp's had to go up against the Pep team, which is going to be arguably, it will go down as probably arguably the best, especially if they do 4 back-to-back Premier League titles. Push them all the way. In one aspect, you use it as an argument for what Mourinho's done, and then I'm still saying, it's like, but if you score a goal with 1 leg and 2 leg, the person who scores it at 1 leg, you turn around and be like, you know what, regardless of what, you both scored a goal, but the other person, clap, clap, clap. That is
I agree with that.
So that is in the sense where what we say in the Klopp, the resources that he's had, in arguably to other managers, as in Mourinho in this, is the reason why I turn around and say it's an argument. If you look at it at just facts are facts, you turn around and you say, well, you can't. Mourinho has won 3-1. We get that. That's the reason why I put and say when you leave a legacy, a legacy is what you have done while you was there in the paramount of what you had to do it within.
So that's
the reason why I say...
Arsenal haven't won a league since. So Jose Mourinho landed here. He ended Arsenal. Arsenal haven't won a league for 2 decades. Since Jose Mourinho landed in these shores for the first time, Arsenal haven't won a title.
That's a dig at Arsenal.
In terms of legacy.
I ain't got to do with Arsenal.
To then come back 10 years later and do it all again. Winning a League Cup as well, by the way. Beating Tottenham in the final.
Let's bring Marva in. To be fair, you've waited very patiently.
In terms of the point of pushing City, not that this team did push City, but in terms of if we're saying, all right, but Liverpool came second quite a lot. Mourinho also came second with United, which I think was one of the bigger achievements that he did, because that team was pretty bad. But I would say that I think...
Say that again. I think
in terms of legacy and Premier League legacy and who we will remember for years to come, I just don't think Klopp competes with that when it comes to Mourinho.
You don't think we're going to remember Klopp?
We'll remember him, but in terms of who we remember more so, I think Mourinho goes above.
Mourinho's more of an icon, isn't he?
I don't think we're going to agree here, are we? I don't think we're going to agree.
What do you boys say?
I would go down on the side of Jose Mourinho because of the multiple league titles, but I do think Jurgen Klopp is ridiculously amazing.
I always think Jurgen Klopp's very difficult to replace when he does leave Liverpool because of everything he's done, so... Yeah.
There we go.
Next up, I'm looking forward to this one. True or false, Rory's Haaland hot take was the worst hot take in the history of hot takes.
False.
We just read them out.
False.
I think we should come to the player that played 20 years as a striker in the game, Bayo. When you heard Rory's take on Haaland, who went on to score, was it 500,000 goals?
Can we just clarify what Haaland said?
$500 billion.
$500 billion.
Let's just clarify what Haaland...
Yeah, Rory said he would be flop of the season.
Yeah, I heard it. And he said, you know the crazy thing? Go see the clip. He said it with so much confidence.
Sat in that chair?
Like in there, you saw the vein in his neck like this.
I think he even crossed his legs, and his legs crossed like that.
Yeah, and I swear he said, quote me on it. You know what I'm saying?
So go on, your thoughts.
Look, he knows. You know what I'm saying? This is why I can't really take him seriously now. So when he says, everything's banter with him now, because when you make statements like that, you're banter central for the rest of your life. So, no, listen, he knows, we know. To be fair, I'd like to hear, you know what I'm saying, how you feel.
The rationale.
How you feel?
It was wrong. It was an error, and it was proved wrong about 3 weeks into the season. Yeah, after the third hat-trick in a month, it was proved wrong. But the rationale was sound. Because the case study that I had to base it on, everybody was saying to me, he scored loads of goals in the Bundesliga. I, at the time, was so scorned and worn out by watching Timo Werner play football. I was watching Timo Werner, who was a hit in Germany, miss chance after chance, miss sitter after sitter. So I was watching Timo Werner do that, and I was using that as a case study. I was watching Kai Havertz struggle coming from the Bundesliga. I was watching Jadon Sancho struggle coming from the Bundesliga.
But Haaland's goal scoring in Champions League at that point was still ridiculous.
Was it meant? You said that.
I think we bagged on Rory enough.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
We didn't need about Bale.
We're just reading
the next one's about Bale.
Let's move on.
I hope the next one's about Bale.
True or false? Bayo should have scored against Shrewsbury Town away.
No, it's not.
I remember that. He asked me, true, he missed a sitter. It's an absolute ludicrous miss.
The next one, though, the next one is good. It involves your two teams. True or false? Stevie G was a better player than Frank Lampard.
False.
Of course, false. Obviously false.
Marva's also false. Let's go to the neutral first, shall we?
I'm not neutral, though. I'm not neutral.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not.
You're not really,
I will say my bias has changed over the years because, like, pre-2022, I'd be so biased towards Lampard, and then he managed my club, and I have slightly...
And kept you up. You should be very grateful. Kept you up. That glorious win against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, and then the season after that. But no, I just think... I think the debate is unfair because I do think they played in quite different positions for a lot of their career in terms of what they did for their teams. But I do think that the way that people rationalise Gerrard is saying that what he did for a sometimes mediocre Liverpool team, and could Lampard have done that? But if you look at some of the key moments that Lampard provided, like winning them the league, those Champions League semi-finals and quarter-finals against Liverpool, he had huge moments like that, and his goal-scoring record speaks for itself.
Do you know what else is interesting there? You know that conversation around Gerrard did it with a really weak team, Gerrard did it with a really weak midfield. I remember going to Anfield in those days and the cops singing about Liverpool having the best midfield in the world. Xavi Alonso, Mohamed Sissoko, Gerrard Mascherano.
I remember it.
Right? So we constantly hear, he did it with a really bad team, he was doing it for a poor side, he didn't have anyone to play with. I literally remember going there and listening to the cops sing about the best midfield in the world.
But to be fair, I mean, let's put some respect on both their names.
Yeah,
We're talking about two of the best midfielders in Premier League history. To that point, is the debate more that Gerrard, the team that he was in, and obviously the moments that he produced, because they are two fantastic players.
They're the elites in the Premier League, and that's what we're arguing just for that point. I'm actually curious. Do you think Gerrard can do everything Lampard could do? And vice versa, Lampard can do everything Gerrard can do, and that's the reason why when it comes to this point, that's how I look at it. Yeah. I look at it is that if I was to flip both of them, and I won't even say weaker, nothing, just as them as players. So that was the quote. Yeah. Is Stevie G a better player than Lampard? So if you used to flick them, I'll just look at it like I honestly believe Stevie G can do everything Lampard can do at, let's just say, an 8. I think Lampard can't do everything Stevie G can, but it would be at a 6. That's how I map them. Honestly, that's why I think Gerrard's a better player.
I think it's a really interesting one in terms of, if you remove tribalism and just analyse the footballers. I think Gerrard is probably more naturally gifted. I think Gerrard's natural ability is better, and Gerrard as a sort of swashbuckling box-to-box midfielder, maybe. But everything that Gerrard was supposed to be better at, people who make a case for Gerrard. He's a better goal scorer. OK, he wasn't. He wasn't. He factually wasn't. He's a better passer. OK, assists.
He was. Yes.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah,
but he wasn't. He was like the assists. He wasn't.
Do you know when you?
It was the Lampard. Do you know
the only thing when you do difference, and so when you want to make an argument for yourself, just like when you would use analogies of Rooney being a better technical player, regardless of what, and we can. I'm not saying this is what debate is. Gerrard was a better passer of the ball than Lampard. So we just know that. So what I'm saying,
but you're presenting that as a fact. You're presenting your opinion as a fact.
It's an opinion.
It's opinion.
That's my opinion. Yeah. And for me, my opinion would differ in this because I played the game when it comes to me and you.
Have you not seen me at Shoreditch for other sides?
Wicked. You're a baller. But that's what I'll say on my opinion, right? So, and again, regardless, was you going to say the point that Lampard's got more assists than Lampard? So again, this is what I'm saying. He did play in a better team in that era. So those are the players that would have scored the goals that he would have put on. And I just keep coming back to ask you, just as when you watch it, would Lampard have got those goals playing through the Liverpool trajectory that Gerrard won? And that's all I wanted to know from you. In your just forget.
I think so. I honestly believe that they're so comparable. And just for the record, my favourite non-Chelsea player of the Premier League era is Steven Gerrard. Like, I think he's sensational.
Yeah. It's a good debate.
One of mine as well.
But I do.
Great player.
Great player. Great player. But I do think that Steven Gerrard is perhaps overrated in the conversation with Frank Lampard, because I just don't quite understand why it's just a given. I think the general consensus is that it's...
But it's not, do you know the reason why I
don't think you're going to agree on this one, are you?
Yeah, so...
Get to the next one, because it's also Chelsea-Liverpool related. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Last one. Got to be quicker on this one. True or false? Didier Drogba was a better player than Luis Suarez.
Better player.
Got a minute. Just got a minute on this.
And Drogba's my guy, but no.
No, he wasn't a better player.
All going false.
Our first agreement.
Yeah, I
You had
mean,
final say then, because you're...
if you're saying in terms of like their Premier League career, then obviously because Suarez left, I understand it. But in terms of an actual player, what Suarez did was incredible. That 13-14 season, like one of the best individual seasons I think we've ever seen. What he could do was just incredible, and like you just hated playing against him. I think Suarez has got to go down as one of the all-time greats.
I think he's a better. Suarez, you might be able to argue, is a better goal scorer. But I don't think he's an overall better player. I think in terms of bringing other players into play, in terms of leading the line, in terms of being a personality of the team, in terms of being the top of a spine, like Czech, Terry, Lampard, Drogba was just unbelievable.
Very, very quickly.
Just the Premier League or in general?
Premier League.
One word here.
Suarez.
Suarez. There we go. OK. Enjoyed that. Very much enjoyed that.